So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Sunak claiming he didn't know about the secret Brexit summit. And yeah, this is a really funny clip when he's asked about it.
Apparently, this Brexit meeting that took place relatively recently, did you know about it? Do you sanction Michael Gove to go and talk to other MPs?
You know, I was proud to vote for Brexit, and now as Prime Minister I'm keen to make sure that we deliver the benefits of it. Now, we've already done that when we've taken control of our migration system, for example. We're rolling out free ports across the country, which are creating jobs and investment. And now what we want to do is make sure that we drive growth in our economy by seizing the opportunities of Brexit to do things differently.
He waffles on for a bit longer, so we'll cut to the second question.
There's not about
the support of this meeting, then.
There's not about the meeting. This is what I'm talking about, what the government is doing, and that's making sure that we capitalise on the benefits of Brexit. Trade deals that
he just waffles for like a good minute when asked about this question. It doesn't make any sense, and clearly, you know, based on what I've read here and based on the fact that Sunak wants to rebuild relationships with the EU, it looks very much like he must have known about this meeting. I'll be honest. You can't allow such a meeting to happen without, you know, authorization, you know, talking to opposition MPs, ministers, shadow ministers especially. So Sunak was unaware of Gove's attendance at a private meeting of prominent former Leave and Remain campaigners to discuss Brexit, Number 10 has said. Sunak's spokesperson suggested the Prime Minister had first become aware of Gove's attendance at the two-day summit when he read about it in The Observer, because they're the ones who got the original story. So Gove is either having unauthorised conversations on the problems around Brexit without the consent of the PM, going to as far as talk with members of the opposition front bench as well. This is pretty unheard of. The government is actively talking about the Brexit benefits, but then you have a cabinet minister talking about how Brexit has been a drag on the UK. Makes no sense, unless of course the government are lying. But, you know, they're good, hard-working people, right? They wouldn't lie to us, the public. Number 10 stopped short of criticising Gove for attending, though it would not say Sunak was happy with the attendance. Quote, private individuals are able to come in and discuss whatever they wish. From the government's position, we are focusing on maximising the benefits of Brexit, end quote, the spokesperson said. And we need to remember here, Gove is not a private person. He's a member of the cabinet, and they have a duty of collective responsibility. How can you claim you're maximising the Brexit benefits, but then have one of your top dons have secret meetings about the downsides of Brexit? Does not make sense. Government sources said there was some irritation that there was no warning about Gove's attendance because of the delicate party management involved during the talks on the protocol. One said there were eyebrows raised in Number 10, but said it was unlikely Sunak would raise it personally with the cabinet minister. And I mean, if Sunak did not sanction this meeting, then Gove should be sacked, because this just exposes the government to a lot of questions as to if they really believe in the Brexit benefits. Also from the ERG types and Reform UK, they're already crying about this meeting and moaning about Brexit. They clearly believe in the stab in the back theory for Brexit, and this just adds to it. We'll talk about that in a separate video. The cloak and dagger already feeds into their narrative. The fallout is huge in a way that Sunak does nothing. Makes him look really weak, and he does look like a weak leader. The conference was attended by senior members of Starmer's front bench, including David Lammy, as well as Chief Brexit negotiator Oliver Robbins. David Frost, another former Chief Brexit negotiator, has criticised the event, saying, quote, how can we make Brexit work better with our neighbours? Sorry, this was the headline of the event. How can we make Brexit work better with our neighbours in Europe, end quote. And Frost urged ministers to fully and enthusiastically embrace the advantages of Brexit, end quote. And how do you enthusiastically embrace trade barriers, Chief? Attempted to explain the presence of prominent Brexit backers at the meeting alongside former Remainers, he told the Daily Mail, quote, that's why so many of those responsible for Theresa May's failed backstop were there, while I and those who actually delivered the Brexit agreements were not, end quote. And Number 10 said Gove had made it clear he had attended in his capacity as the governor of Ditchley. One attender said Gove was honest about some of the shortcomings of Brexit, but they said it was wrong to suggest he had expressed regret. They said Gove argued the case of how Brexit would work in the long term, including growth industries such as gene editing. And I've said this before, but this is nonsense. I think he's there to see if Labour will back Sunak's further tweaks to the protocol, because that's going to go to a vote, and apparently there are 100 Tory MPs that are going to vote against it. That's about it. Maybe to find out what Labour plans for their future relationship with the EU. We know that Sunak is trying to rebuild bridges with the EU after the Johnson era and the Trust versus the Lettuce saga. So this all lines up with that. I think if Sunak got a further agreement on the protocol, but then lost the vote in the House of Commons, it would be very embarrassing. Asked if Gove should be speaking on the issue outside of his brief, the spokesperson said, quote, "The public will judge departments and the Secretary of State on the work they're delivering. I think you've seen the department in recent days, whether it's on housing, for important issues like Grenfell or levelling up, the Secretary of State is working hard," end quote. And they've done nothing on Grenfell to invoke the memory of Grenfell is shameful, because this happened because of their lax building regulations. If I was a Tory, I would not mention Grenfell at all, especially after what Mogg said about the tragedy. Also, they're focusing on levelling up, but then they've not done a good job of that. The funds are lower than what they promised. Areas have lost out tremendous amounts of money, like Cornwall, and inflation is eating away at the funds. It's not gone down well. The Observer revealed that a confidential introductory statement acknowledged that there was a view among, quite some at least, that so far the UK has not found its way forward outside of the EU, with Brexit acting as a drag on our economy and inhibiting the UK's potential, end quote. And we've said that for ages now, but Frost said I and millions of others want the government to get on with that instead of raising taxes, deterring investment and pushing public spending to its highest level for 70 years, end quote. And I got news for you, Chief. Brexit is costing the UK money, so we can't do tax cuts. You do tax cuts based on borrowing and you run into what Truss did to the economy, tanked it. Maybe if you did not push for Brexit, you could have had your precious tax cuts, but with Brexit costing the economy around £100 billion per year, where are you supposed to cut the taxes? One senior Conservative Party source who attended the summit dismissed Frost's portrayal of the conference as a, quote, secret plot to unravel Brexit as rather pathetic. Quote, "It's an overreach and a misunderstanding of what the conference was about, which was about the future of UK and EU relations, which is perfectly sensible subject to discuss," the attender said, end quote. So is this not something you would discuss with your party first and try and figure out that given you have a huge majority, it's up to your party to figure things out. You don't need Labour. Having Labour within the summit makes no sense. Even the secrecy around it. We don't know what Gove admitted regarding the Brexit problems. If this summit wasn't no big deal, why do we find out about it via leaks? They really can't spin their way out of this one. Genuinely just baffles me that this is the best they can come up with. Even Sunak's initial statement was pathetic. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.